All right, hi everyone, and welcome to this week's product training with Blue Triangle. Today we're going to talk all about the business analytics module. Now there's 4 different pages or screens in this module, and we're going to take some time to walk through what each one does and how to use it. So there's really a lot of insights and analytics you can get from this module, and it's focused around the relationship between performance and revenue. But if revenue isn't necessarily something you track on your site, this can just as easily be replaced with what we call brand. For example, a brand conversion would be when a user subscribes to email updates or when a user completes a form of some kind on the site. So with these 4 pages, there's the option to view this data from the revenue perspective or the brand perspective. And we'll explain this a little more as we dive into the session today. All right, so my name is Mark, and I'm the support manager here at Blue Triangle, and I do these trainings each week about various topics related to web performance, analytics, and ultimately how to use Blue Triangle to solve problems. So let's go ahead and get started with today's training. As far as the agenda today, we're going to cover each of the 4 pages I mentioned. That would be the opportunity, attribution, analysis, and calculator. Now for each of these 4 pages, there's a revenue version and a brand version. So for the sake of today's training, we're going to be showing you the revenue version of these pages, but don't hesitate to ask questions, or if your site doesn't collect revenue and you're really going to be focused on the brand version, don't hesitate to ask questions about, would this be different on the brand version of the page, things like that. I will say that the pages operate almost identical, the revenue and brand versions. The only difference is instead of sales, it's going to be brand revenue. So you can assign a dollar amount to a brand conversion, and that would act the same as sales. So just to run through these quickly, the opportunity page, here you can see how much additional revenue or brand you could make if you were to improve page speed. That's a report that runs daily, and similar to the opportunity, there's the attribution, and here you're able to plug in a date where you've made a performance change, and you're able to see what's the impact on your business, either through revenue or brand, that performance has had. So how much revenue or brand is attributable to performance, right? The revenue or brand analysis, here, this is a simple analytics page where you can see your data in a variety of views and trends. You're able to see conversions and conversion rate over time and some other things like that. And finally, the revenue and the brand calculator. This is where you're able to play around with the filter options from the revenue opportunity page, and you're able to really investigate closely where the opportunity is and what pages it's on and things like that. So, and finally, we'll end with some Q&A. If there's any questions you guys have during the session today, I'm happy to answer those toward the end. So let's go ahead and get started with the opportunity page. So right now we're looking at our demo e-commerce site, and we're looking at the last 30 days. And so like I mentioned, what this screen shows you is the additional revenue or brand you could make if you were to optimize page speed. So up here at the top, we have these cards showing you how much opportunity there is, and that's also broken out by device, desktop, mobile, and tablet. Over to the left below that is this same information broken out by page. So what's great about Blue Triangle is you're able to see what pages are most affected in terms of business outcomes like revenue or brand conversions by page speed. So some pages aren't going to have any opportunity, so it's not necessary for you to spend time and resources trying to optimize those pages where it's not going to have any business impact. Over to the left, you can see the same information in a pie chart, and then you can also see your actual sales over time. Moving down the page, we can see a little more detail about the opportunity here. Here it's broken out by page, and it's also broken out here by device, desktop, mobile, and tablet. So in the table here, you're able to see the average load time, as well as the optimal load time for best sales, how much traffic is slower than the optimal page speed, and then the revenue opportunity for that particular page. And you're also able to see these what if numbers. So what if the web page loaded 3 seconds faster, right? What if all these pages loaded 3 seconds faster? You would make this much more in revenue over the past 30 days. Now you can actually edit these numbers. For example, if 3 seconds is too high and that's not an attainable performance benchmark, you can go over here and change that to 1.5, for example. Maybe we do 1.51 and 0.5, and that'll update all of these numbers here as well as the table below. All right, so another thing I wanted to point out quickly is our opportunity is calculated by improving performance or decreasing onload without affecting aesthetics, usability, or functionality. So it's possible you're able to improve page speed, but if you also affect the quality of the user experience via aesthetics, usability, or functionality, that's going to have, with those additional variables thrown into the mix, our opportunity numbers aren't going to be as accurate as they could be. All right, so the last thing I wanted to point out on this page is if you click this purple trend icon, you're able to pull up some graphs for each one of these pages. So we call this our conversion rate curve. It's a histogram of sessions, and each cohort is the page speed performance, in this case timed interactive. So for example, at 3.8 seconds, there were almost 14,000 sessions, and let's see here, 3.8 seconds, and the conversion rate was 11.3%. Now, just to clarify, we're able to assign a conversion rate to the category page because the way this is calculated is for all users that traverse the category page and ultimately converted. All right, so moving down the page, there's a couple of graphs. What if users are sped up to X seconds, and what if users are sped up by X seconds? And you're able to see how the revenue or brand revenue changes accordingly. All right. So the next page we're going to talk about is the revenue attribution. Like I mentioned before, the revenue attribution, the idea here is you specify a date of performance change, and from that you're able to see did the change in performance contribute to additional revenue, or did it cost your site brand or revenue dollars? So over in the top left, there's a summary. You're able to see the total performance cost or contribution. In this case, there's a bit of a cost. And you can also see that broken out by device. So desktop, we did improve speed on desktop, and that's why there's a contribution here. But mobile and tablet suffered the cost listed here. So you're able to see the same information over here in this graph. So you're able to see the revenue attributed to page load time. So here is desktop, here is mobile, and tablet over here to the right. Now, you're also able to see for each of those devices the particular cost or contribution of each individual page that you have selected. Now these pages come straight from the revenue opportunity page. You may notice there's no filter options on this page, but if you're interested in changing anything, be sure to reach out to your account manager or your customer success manager over at Blue Triangle, and they'll be happy to help you out with that. So another great thing is down at the bottom, you're able to see the page speed for each page before the date of performance change and after the date of performance change, as well as the percentage difference and what revenue or brand revenue difference was as well. All right, so let's go over to the revenue analysis. So while the opportunity and attribution pages are more solidified reports that you're not able to change much, the revenue analysis is more of a typical report in Blue Triangle where you have your filter options and you're able to go in here and slice and dice the data however you like. So up at the top we have our traffic segment overview. Here you're able to see the business performance of each individual traffic segment. So of course revenue or brand, orders or conversions, sessions, page views, and some more things here. So if you're wondering, you can configure your traffic segments in the sites page in Blue Triangle. If you have any questions about that, be sure to reach out to your customer success manager and they'll be happy to help you out with that. All right, in the middle of the page we have our sales funnel. This is just kind of a graphical view of what your user journey looks like toward a conversion. There's nothing special here. You can just click and drag to view the pages. If we wanted to put the story page in here, you could put that right there and it would show up there. You're able to rearrange these by just clicking and dragging. And what this number is page views. So you're able to see the page views for each page or step in your journey to conversion here. Now the graphs down here below, there's a few graphs here. The one at the top is conversion rate and average order value per converted session over time. The middle one here shows you the total revenue or brand revenue, the page views, and conversions over time. I think conversions and orders are synonymous, as well as the sessions here. You can get the session volume. You can turn that on and off in the legend here. And at the bottom of the page, we have average revenue or brand revenue and page views per session over time. And you can also toggle on and off sessions or revenue per session or page views per session just by clicking the legend items below. And for each of these graphs, you're also able to see this in a table view by clicking over here to the left. And if you'd like, you're able to export this data as well. All right, and the last page we're going to talk about is the revenue calculator. So this page is essentially the revenue opportunity, the graphs here for each page. The revenue calculator allows you to control the filter options, the page name, the device, the percentile, and all sorts of other filters for these graphs. So over at the revenue calculator, for example, right now we're looking at the search page. And this is a one-day time period for the desktop device. Our performance metric that we're comparing it to is onload, and we're going to discard sessions over the 80th percentile. So in the top graph here, this again is our conversion rate curve. So we have our histogram of sessions here, and here is performance, the x-axis, and that is performance for onload. Now here we can see this is more of a typical looking conversion rate curve, where over to the left we're seeing a higher conversion rate. And we've already seen these graphs here. What if we sped page up by, and what if page speed was? Now, there's also a conversion rate and average order value per converted section over time down below. Now, couple of cool things you can do with this graph, with this page, is create a revenue attribution report. So, given the current time period, you can go in and set the attribution comparison time period, and then just plug in your email, hit run report, and you should get an email delivered to you shortly thereafter. The other thing you can do is add a comparison. So here's the current time period, and then we're able to set a comparison time period. So we're looking at the 9th to the 10th. We could look at the 8th to the 9th here. We're going to call this 8th to 9th. You're also able to control what legend items are going to be available. Now, if we hit next, the last thing we're going to do is specify any filter options, but we're going to leave this the same. We're going to look at the search page for desktop, and that'll be onload and the 80th percentile. We're going to hit add comparison, and that's basically going to overlay a second result here. So here we can see our 8th to 9th, and that's compared to our 9th to 10th time period here. So here they're overlaid on these graphs. You're able to see each of these lines side by side and right on top of each other. All right, so I think that's all I had to cover with you guys today. I hope that you learned a little bit more about our business analytics module, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those now. So I'm gonna pause now and look for any questions that came up.
All right, so I see one question here, and I'll go ahead and get started with that. So the first question: how does the revenue attribution work? Yeah, so that is a great question, and as a matter of fact, I can show you. We actually have a report that kind of walks through the methodology of how that works. So if I go back into our portal here and I go over to the revenue attribution page, what you're able to do if you go to the graph where it's broken out by page, you can actually click into this bar, click for more details here. So this pulls up the revenue attribution report, and it's for a particular page, and you're looking at the before and after time period, and that would be before the performance change and after. So this would be the same report that you get delivered to your email that you can set up to get sent to you from the revenue calculator page. But essentially, the methodology is laid out here. I won't get into the fine details, but essentially you take the baseline traffic shape 7 days before the date of performance change, and then you take basically the time since the date of performance change, the traffic shape for that line. For that time period. You overlay them on the same chart, and you add in the conversion rate for the time period after the performance change. And once you do that, the last thing you're going to do is just get the difference in revenue. So there's, after revenue minus before revenue. Same thing as if this were brand conversions, we would just look at the after conversions minus the before conversions, and that would give us the result here in attribution. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any more questions about that, definitely reach out to us, and we can chat more about that. All right, so I think that's all we have for you today, guys. Thank you so much for your time. And like I mentioned, if you do have any more questions, we're always happy to speak offline. So feel free to reach out to us anytime. You can reach us here in support at bluetriangle.com. You can also reach us at any of the emails listed on the screen here. And of course, our help center is help.bluetriangle.com. All right, guys. So thanks again for your time, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.